Hello YouTube, back again with another Python tutorial video. Today we're going to be uncovering some insights from a fantasy football dataset. This dataset I got from Kaggle. They do a pretty good job of storing a bunch of different interesting datasets, you could say. And I got this a few months ago, but I never really took the time to um, uncover it really, or just really try to find some interesting tidbits about it. So today we're going to be answering two questions specifically. We're going to list out the top five PPRs for all three positions: running back, quarterback, and wide receivers. I did not include tight ends. Um, but if you want to include tight ends, you could pretty much use the same logic and just um, input the tight end position, as you'll see here shortly in a few minutes. And then we're also going to be descending this, and we're going to be dropping all duplicates. The second question we're going to be answering is um, the top five PPR averages, regardless of position, for all players who at least played 3 seasons. So I picked 3 seasons because this data set extends to 5 seasons. So I want players who have not fallen or succumbed to injury in the midst of those 5 seasons. So they were healthy and they played pretty well consistently throughout that tenure. And we're also going to be sorting this in a descending way. So let's begin by importing our libraries, pandas, and I think that's the only one we'll need in this tutorial. I'll set this option so we can view all of our columns once we bring them in. Okay, there we go. Cool, and now to bring in our data set. We'll call this data frame. We'll do pd dot read underscore csv, and let me pull up my file explorer. So this is what we're going to be pasting in here, our file path to our CSV file. And we also need to be sure to grab the name of the actual file. So fantasy merged 717. And let's paste that right after practice. And we also have to do .csv. So let's take a look at our data set. Cool. So as you can see, we have, I believe, 27 total columns. Um, and it's a lot of pretty cool information. A lot of it is general that you can find um, essentially a lot of places that track information about football, but the thing that we're really interested in this tutorial is PPR. PPR is a um, statistic used to measure player performance based on the amount of catches they had, the yards, and touchdowns. So all three of those data points are attributed differently when it comes to point systems. So a touchdown is worth 6 points, a catch is worth 1 point, and 1 yard is worth zero point 0.1 points. So throughout the course of a game, high performing players will obviously accrue a lot of those statistics: touchdowns, yards, and catches. And PPR does a really nice job of tracking all of those data points. And as I mentioned, we're going to be, taking a real deep dive into PPR and just who's been essentially the best at um, racking up touchdowns, receptions, and yards. So let's give ourselves some additional cells to answer these questions. So first one, top five PPRs regardless of season for running backs, quarterbacks, and wide receivers. So we'll start off with the running backs. Um, let's call this data frame underscore running back equals mouse data frame, and we want to filter just for let's do running backs first. So we'll filter just for running backs. B. There we go. So what I'm doing here is, as I mentioned, I'm just filtering out for all running backs. Fan position is the player's position. So as we can see here, Todd Gurley is obviously a running back, so he'll be attributed the RB, the RB fan position. Russell Wilson quarterback, so on and so forth. And we want to obviously sort these values, right? So we'll do dot sort values by PPR, comma ascending equals false. So we want this in a descending way, so we're gonna uh, falsify this ascending. And then let's see here, top five PPR regardless of season. Um, and then we're also gonna be descending as we did here, and then dropping all duplicates. Which duplicates we want to drop? We want to drop the player duplicates because we don't want a player reappearing twice within this list, with which it does happen. As you can imagine, Christian McCaffrey or Patrick Mahomes um, had pretty high performing seasons multiple times. So, we don't want those players appearing twice within our results. So we'll drop all player duplicates. And then we'll do dot head to get the first five results. So let's run that data frame RB. Okay, here we are. And I want to clean this up a little bit just because a lot of this, the columns I don't care for at this moment of time. So we'll just pull their names, just player. Let's pull their position. Actually, we don't need their position. It's already predetermined. And then let's pull PPR. And let's also pull year. Let's run that. Okay, here we are. So we can see Christian McCaffrey had the highest PPR over the course of these 5 seasons, with a total of 471, which he accomplished in the 2019 season, followed by Saquon Barkley. Wow, who's almost 100 points below Christian McCaffrey. And he did this 2018, which I believe was his rookie year. Pretty impressive. 2017, I think this was Todd Gurley's last dominant year in the NFL, if I remember correctly. He might have had one more, but um, I know his career got cut a bit short due to injuries. Um, and followed by Alvin Kamara, who performed pretty consistently throughout these 5 seasons, and then followed up by Jonathan Taylor, which I believe this was his rookie year as well, or maybe his second year. That's a pretty consistent theme when it comes to running backs. They tend to perform their best just a few years out of college, given the position and the wear and tear that you go through throughout high school, college, and in the NFL. It kind of makes sense. Okay, so you can take a look at this code and really just apply the same logic for the other positions. So if I change this RB to QB, it'll give me the best performing quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes led the way in 2022, followed by Lamar Jackson in 2019, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, and Justin Herbert. And let's do the same for wide receivers. We can see here Cooper Cup took that in 2021. I believe he won the Triple Crown this year. He led the league in receptions, yards, and receiving touchdowns. Michael Thomas, this was by far his best year in the NFL, followed by Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, and Tyreek Hill. So that was a pretty simple way of, picking out the best performing um, TPRs um, for any given season and for any position. So our next question is top five average PPR regardless of season for any of these three positions, and they must have at least played 3 years. So we're essentially going to be running this again, but we'll be pulling the averages or the mean, and we're gonna input a small condition to output players that have at least played 3 seasons. So we'll call this df average equals df again fan position. So close that, and this time let's do quarterbacks. That, and since we're pulling um, an average, we'll want to group this by players. Group by player dot. Let's see here. Let's input our filter now. Filter lambda x len x greater to or equal to 3. And then we can close this. So here we're grouping by player, and we want to filter out for players who at least appear 3 times. So um, if a player's name appears more than once, then we know they have at least played 2 seasons. If they appear or equal to 3 times, then we know they have at least played 3 seasons. So now we have to group by again. Group by player. Actually, no, let's pull the mean this time. So we'll do PPR dot mean dot sort values ascending equals false dot reset index. We have to reset the index because right now the program is recognizing player as index, and we don't want that. We want the index to be as it was up here in our outputs above. We'll do dot head, and then I think that is it. So let's run that and see what happens. Data frame average. Okay, we have function object has no attribute head. Huh. I wonder why it's saying that. Recent endings dot head. Okay, I think this is it. There we go. Um, all right, and let's round this because it doesn't, I don't like the way it looks right now. So we'll round to 2 decimal points. Okay, here we are. So as we can see here, Josh Allen has played well the most consistently throughout these 5 years with an average of 338 PPR points, followed by Justin Herbert with 331, Patrick Mahomes 311, Tom Brady 304, and Russell Wilson 300. Now, much like this first or cell 9, we can just change the um, position real quick, and we'll get the same output just for running backs. Alvin Kamara, Todd Gurley, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor. So these 4 players appeared up here for us. The only outlier or the only new um, person in is Ezekiel Elliott with 250. He had a really first good years of his career. Just kind of tapered off towards the end, and yeah, so he made the list. Now who's Alvin Kamara, Todd Gurley, Christian? I think yeah, it's Saquon Barkley because he had I think 2 seasons or 1.5 seasons where he dealt with a lot of injuries, so he hasn't performed well consistently just due to injury. But these 4 have 4 of the highest PPRs regardless of seasons. If they've also performed the most consistent, which is very impressive. Justin Jefferson. So these 3 guys appeared earlier. We have 2 new incomers, Stephon Diggs and CeeDee Lamb. which makes complete sense. Um, so in my opinion, the um, top players are the ones who have had the highest seasons and the one who've played well the most consistently. So Cooper Cup isn't in this discussion right here just because he had the strongest 17, 18, 19, or 20 season um, when compared to these guys. So that's that's what we got so far. And um, yeah, those pretty much it. It's a very easy and simple tutorial. Thank you for watching, and until next time.